Welcome to the first update video. Hopefully, at least once a week I'll be putting out a video just kind of going over what I've been doing in the game, any new stuff I've done, just to kind of keep updates going out, stuff like that. Still very early stages of the project currently. Basically, it's not much of a game yet as much as it is a showcase for what the game's going to look like. So basically this game is going to be kind of the Resident Evil / Silent Hill game that I've always wanted but never got. More in the style of a PlayStation and PlayStation 2 era game, so not photorealistic. It's more stylized graphics, pixelization filter, stuff like that. Basically what I wanted for this game was to be put in the same kind of environment you get out of those games, but kind of have the freedom to do whatever you want to an extent. I love the first Silent Hill game, but basically you're thrown into the town, and while it's an open map, you are kind of funneled from objective to objective, whereas Resident Evil is more of just fully linear, some backtracking and stuff like that, but you're still kind of confined to this linear space. So really what I want is to be able to have a town that you can explore. Obviously there's going to be a lot of buildings that are just going to be boarded up, stuff like that, kind of like what I have over here. Just kind of boarded up buildings to make the town feel more full, but you can't really do much with them. Although I do want to have variations of buildings like this and other buildings that you can go inside and actually have stuff in there, have, you know, side quests or extra puzzles you can do, just random stuff that has nothing to do with the main story of the game, but gives you some extra advantages, stuff like that, in case you just want to get a new gun or some ammo or something. So basically this specific video is just going to be kind of going over what I've got so far, as well as kind of a basic plan layout of what I want to do in the future. So right now, the current starting location is essentially a diner that's been utterly destroyed. Skeletons, stuff like that. Your character doesn't know what's going on. All he sees is a bunch of dead people in a very creepy town. So this will be kind of the starting point for our character. The most recent thing I did was actually build a bathroom. I still need to finish it, but I wanted to kind of have that. You know, every horror game's got to have a creepy restroom in it, you know? Every single one. So this is mine. I built a little flashlight on the ground, just kind of to see what it would look like. I do actually want to make it a part of the game, so I'll actually have to model a flashlight, put it in here, make it a, you know, interactable item once I actually get some of the more gameplay elements implemented. Stuff like that. I already showed the two buildings here. There's an alleyway between these two buildings. It's got some stuff in it, but it's very dark. It's where the flashlight would come in. And then I've kind of started working on a little house over here, but haven't gotten very far on it. I have these tree assets that were from... hold on, let me bring up Epic real quick. There it is, Dark Forest. So this guy right here gave me all these different trees and stuff like that, which, let's see, if we take off the lighting, have this really weird effect when the distant LEDs start to pop in. It gets this really weird kind of, I don't know how to really describe it, this weird wiry, pixely kind of aliased look to it, which I thought looked really cool. So I just kind of put a border of all these things around the map. Don't know where those ones went. Could have sort of had them all around. Primarily just so originally the fog was a bit brighter, it was more like an actual fog rather than the kind of view distance obscuring fog that you see in a PS1 game. It was actually just straight up fog. So you can kind of see in the background a little bit, and you can still kind of see up there. It gives us a really kind of eerie feel to it as far as the art direction goes. It does make it feel a little bit more janky, a little more old, retro feeling, I guess you could say. Yeah, basically right now it's very early stages. Most of my time has just been kind of getting the atmosphere down. I implemented tank controls because that was my original idea for it, is I wanted to be able to have the classic style tank controls. And I might still do something with it, maybe do some fixed cameras, stuff like that in interiors, but at the same time, it does feel, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. Granted, I need to do some refining to it, actually flesh out the controls a bit more, have animations instead of just the default holding a rifle animation he's got right now. And then maybe mess around again with the traditional third-person animation, see if that works. Because I like having the old-school kind of tank controls and stuff like that, but without being able to look up and down, I feel like it does kind of take a little bit away from the atmosphere. It's like when you walk in here, you can't really see the ground as much, even though I spent quite a bit of time just putting a couple puddles down there, making them look right. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. Still very early, just kind of building out the concept. But basically this is the first game I want to make. This is the one that's actually going to be the full-fledged game. From here on out, I'm going to kind of expand along this road at least. Finish that house right there. Put another house over here. Maybe could put a few more things down here, just so I have at least a little bit of area to explore. And then from there, I'll probably implement a couple gameplay features, actually be able to interact with certain things, go inside of a building, stuff like that. Just a few select instances of quote-unquote gameplay, just to kind of get a feel for everything. So that'll be kind of the main one I'm working on now. Although I do have another project that is kind of it started off as just me trying to do some graphic design, and I got a really cool image out of it, but then I kind of built it into like an actual arena, and I kind of want to make it into a sports game of sorts, and have like obviously two teams on either side with a goal, maybe a ball or multiple balls, 1, 2, or 3, in the center, and have the teams fight over it. Either, I don't know, have power-ups in there or not, I don't know. But basically just have either teams on vehicles, or if it feels a bit too much like Rocket League or something like that, just have them as people running around. Maybe have different power-ups and just try to, kind of like a mixture of dodgeball and soccer, I guess. It'd be kind of interesting. But it all kind of started just trying to make like a kind of a synthwave album cover for my current record I'm working on. So I kind of did that, you know, Outride-esque sun, put the laser grid, and then from there I kind of added on to it. I built the illuminated walls around it. It was just strict, you know, metal walls, but I actually made them glass. Put the reflective steel underneath it to give that kind of shine from the sky and everything else. And then when I was in the previous game, the horror one that I'm actually making, I have the assets for these guys here. Neon. So for these I actually have all of these material instances I've created that I imported to the other one for the neon sign, and I was just curious and I threw one onto one of the trees. I think it was the blue one, and thought it looked really cool. So I jumped back into this project, added all those trees, like again the Dark Forest pack, so just those trees from the Dark Forest pack, and then just took these material instances, tossed them on there. Pretty basic stuff. These are all pretty simple. You can find easy tutorials to make this stuff on YouTube if you want. But just kind of build up all these things, and you can transfer between your projects, and you're good to go. Speaking of which, the one thing I forgot to go over was the pixelization. Top-down blueprint shader. Pixelate instance. So for this one, so by default, I've got it set to 600. So basically, on this guy, the higher the number, the less pixelized it is. So if I go to 1,000, oops, oh my god, just work please, jeez. It's definitely a little bit less pixelated now. Still a little jagged. You can see a little bit of jagged edges right around there. Bit of aliasing. Originally, I think I had it set to like 300 or something. Kind of an overboard on it. I like it. I like the style. I think it's a little too much though. Just a little bit. It looks a bit less like a PS1 game at this point. It's almost too jank. So I was at 600 because I was working on it. The actual number I think I landed on was 480. I can't remember exactly which number it was. Yeah, I think it was 480. That way it still adds a pretty decent amount of pixelization and everything without it reducing too much detail. So you can still kind of make out the textures and the shading and everything without it being too obscured. But yeah, so this is basically just, I guess, update video number 1. Very early stages in the game, still working out the kinks, still learning what I'm doing, and trying to get a feel for what the game's gonna be. But yeah, I keep working on it and come back when I got some more to show. Alright, thanks for watching.